Welcome to The Bank is Open, presented by Pickett Sports Props.cash. Hope everyone had a Merry Christmas, a good holiday, as we've got a loaded NBA card and we got a packed house here. Brad Thomas, Brian versus the Books, NicLarson. What's going on, guys?
Chilling.
Going
Wait,
on.
this is a pact. Have we ever done this show before? I don't know. I'm not even sure.
It's like
Thursdays
the
we have.
yeah, it's like the
There's
elevator where we got to
okay, yeah.
cram everybody in and just sort of,
Yeah.
move to the right and to fit everyone.
Cra-
Absolutely.
Crazy not having 3 games on a Tuesday for once.
Yes.
Yeah, well I it's funny that Christmas in a way resettled some of the scheduling for NBA where they can't just have 3 games anymore for like this week because the scheduling is all messed up with actually having 6 game slates for once, which is what it should be.
Right. Last time we talked was Thursday, and I think we all kind of agreed Lawrence's first touchdown was a play. I hope everyone tailed along. That was a fun one. That was a nice cash. So got a bunch of games. We'll just spend a few minutes on each. You guys don't feel free to, if you don't have anything, we can just move on to the next game and we'll just kind of get through everything, side, a prop, total. I guess we could start Sixers and Wizards. Sixers are laying 5, total 225. Brian, this is your team, so you could start here. Sixers and Wizards, what you got?
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. I'm going to be the guy that, the audience has to, try to act like I'm not being biased in my Embiid jersey and my Sixers hat. But I do like this spot. The Sixers are a weird team on the road, but I haven't even fathomed yet that they're on this win streak and they're just playing really good basketball. They played on Christmas national TV. Everyone got to see them play. They looked like ass in that first half. They played garbage lately. They were lazy on the offensive glass. Everything just went bad. But they ended up on a 21-4 run at the end of the game. So I think they're playing great basketball, and I actually do have a play in this game if we have room to even display it. But on DraftKings, if you same game parlay Joel Embiid, 30 plus points, and James Harden 8+ assists, it kind of correlates a little bit as Embiid does get fed by Harden a lot. And I talked about it a little bit with Nick before, but when Embiid gets on these scoring runs where he just wants to score, I don't. Can you guys name like a legit player that can stop this guy from scoring 30 if
No.
he wants to? I mean, he started off that Knicks game really slow. Mitchell Robinson actually kind of he locked up Embiid. They had good doubles, had a good game plan for him. He only scored 5 points early on. He didn't really get in that groove, and then next thing you know, you hear the announcer say another 35-point game for Joel Embiid. So
I think
he
you, I
just
think
gets
you hit him in
going.
the face or hope he falls over or something is your
Yeah.
best bet right now.
Yeah. And right now, James Harden has 8 or more assists in 9 of his last 10 games. And James Harden's another guy where if he wants to score, he's another good scorer. He's been up and down, but when he wants to dime, I mean, you just saw him have 21 assists 2 games ago, and he's been passing the ball really well and playing really
Yeah.
unselfishly. So he has 17 assists and 10 assists against the Wizards in earlier games. Embiid has not played the Wizards yet. I think it's him and Tingus Pingus in the paint. I'm riding this one at this price.
Nick, what you got? Anything for this game? And I guess you guys can discuss this before we move to the next game. We all assumed it was Boston, Milwaukee, probably still two of the best teams in the East, but Brooklyn has come on and the Sixers have come on where now it's a really good East, a crowded East. We can talk about if the Nets are legit. I think they are because they're playing good defense, but Nick, you could take that wherever you want to go here.
Yeah, as far as this game, I agree with everything he said. This could be a 40-point Embiid game easily. I don't know who the Wizards have to stop him. Also like the assist from Harden. As far as the East, yeah, I think the Bucks still are struggling with. They need consistent Middleton back, and then they need Ingles to get figure out what his role exactly is going to be. He hasn't played with the starters much, so I'm not worried about the Bucks. I think Brooklyn is going to be a threat down the stretch. It's just going to come down to health for them and playing defense, like you said. It could be they could be problematic though because they still don't have the big guy, so. I don't know if they pick up somebody or what the deal is, but yeah, it's looking like more like a 4-team race right now.
Brad, feel free to jump in. Any
Yeah,
thoughts?
yeah. Yeah, I'll just say I'm on Joel Embiid over 31.5 points in this game. He's hit this number in 3 of his last 5. 3 of his last 5 against the Wizards as well. And one thing that I wanted to add that Brian didn't really say, I talked about this early in the preseason when I did some NBA previews, but last season, the highest rated 1-2 pick and roll was Harden to Embiid. And it's starting to look like that tandem is starting to heat up more. Like Brian said, like if Harden wants to score, he can. If he wants to facilitate, he can, and he's in that facilitator role, which helps Embiid even more. So at 31.5, like I wish it was like a little bit lower so I could play over 40, but I wouldn't be shocked if he just absolutely destroys this Wizards team who let Ayton score 30, the Joker scored 43, and AD scored 55 on him. They don't really have an answer for scoring bigs.
Yeah, they certainly played well here. Go ahead, Brian. Yeah.
I was gonna say final point is because it is fun to watch them clicking together a little bit more. And the biggest worry I have with the Sixers team sometimes is load management or Harden, quote unquote looking washed last year, and Embiid having just to be a big body. I do like to attack this tandem when they have these long breaks, like because they played on Christmas. I mean, they haven't played They have one basketball game in the last 5 days, 4 days. Like that goes a long way for a guy like Joel Embiid that thrives off playing high intense basketball.
Yeah, as somebody who's had futures tickets on them the last 2 years, that season after the bubble where they melted down against the Wizards, and then last year before the Harden trade, I just have a hard time trusting them. Harden in the playoffs and beating the playoffs always seems to get hurt. Doc Rivers in the playoffs. I have trust issues with the 76ers, so I know they played well. I know they're dangerous, but I don't know. It'll be a fascinating postseason. Like I said, I have some trust issues with that team until they prove me otherwise. This group, for all their talent they've had with the Butler season, these teams, they still haven't gotten to a conference finals. And man, these teams, some of them were just really good. So we will see. It'll be interesting to keep an eye on. But they're laying 5 against the Wizards. No play for me in this game. The next one is a game I do have a play in. The Magic hosting the Lakers. The Magic, boy, what a world we live in. The Magic are 3.5-point favorites over the Lakers. I like Orlando. I think you could still get a 60-1 on the Magic. We talked about them winning that division at 200-1. It's down to 35-1 everywhere else. You can still get them 60-1 at Bet Rivers to win this division. And hey, this is the last chance because upcoming the next 4 games, home versus the Lakers, the Thunder, the Wizards, and then they play another bad team, the Pistons, I think. So there's a chance here for our Magic to make a little run if you got a ticket on them. I like them against the Lakers. Nick, start us off Magic and Lakers. Anything you like here?
Yeah, I'm going the opposite direction, but it's kind of unfair. I took it this morning when it was plus 160 for the Lakers. I probably wouldn't play it. I think it's, what is it, like
3.5 plus 136 on FanDuel.
Yeah, I just couldn't pass up the 160. I mean, Magic are still kind of the Magic. I know Wendell Carter is on a minute restriction still. Just taking the value there. I know the Lakers are still a mess right now. LeBron's been playing crazy scoring wise, so maybe he has a huge game and they upset, which is crazy to say, the Magic.
Unbelievable.
That makes me kind of laugh. Like, and I even see when LeBron was on Christmas Day, his player prop was set at 30.5 points. And I was like, there's no way I'm playing this player prop. And sure enough, LeBron, like Christmas Day Magic, scored his over 30 points. Today it's 31.5. I actually think that the Lakers get blown out in this game. The Magic present a lot of size and length, and that I don't think the Lakers are going to be able to combat, which gives the upper hand to the Magic. But it still sounds weird saying that. Like, I'm not comfortable ever saying like, oh, the Magic are going to blow a team out.
He's had 30 plus now in I think 7 straight, which is nuts.
Crazy.
It's such a waste too. It's such a shame. And part of it's his own doing. He signed off on that Westbrook trade. Like, part of it's his own doing. But man, you see that starting 5 on Christmas Day. It's like, oh my God, what is?
You got to give him credit though. He doubled down. He could have stepped off Westbrook, and like he could have made a comment being like, "Oh, it's not really working out." But he doubled down. I mean, you got to give him credit there. But yeah, this is a weird one. I know Nick's on the Lakers. This is a weird game. This is gonna be the second game I have on. I'll have the Sixers on one TV, this and the other. I mean, the biggest thing right now with the Magic is, I mean, obviously they've won 8 of the last 9, but they're scoring like crazy. They're averaging 120 points a game in the last 6. That's just one of those things where, as good as LeBron can be and as good as the Lakers can play offensively, can they get the stops? That's my biggest thing, is that to win a basketball game, it's all about the stops. And this Magic team is just putting up loads of points, which is just wild to say that you can see this team putting up 120 points a game over the last week.
Yeah, I totally agree. Anything else for you in terms of bets? Anything for you, Brian, in terms of a bet this game, player prop, anything?
No, I'm just gonna watch and root for Nick's downfall as our Magic go off.
Did you guys jump in on the division price at all?
Oh yeah.
I have like $5 on it. I put it on during the show, and I got I think DraftKings gave me 563 or something like that. Whatever I'm allowed to bet on a prop that's definitely gonna win at $1 million to nothing.
Like I said, it's 200-1 not that long ago, a week and a half ago. It's down to 35-1 at DraftKings at FanDuel. So hey, if you could still get those 60-1s, and division markets are ones that can be stale. Books don't always update them. They'll go a week and just kind of get caught napping here. So hey, is he going to win? I don't know, but that's just a good number. That one at 60-1. I don't think it'll be 61 for long. I think they got a chance here to make a little run, and they've played well. So the Magic laying 3.5 against the Lakers. Moving on, the Kawhi Bowl. The Raptors are hosting the Clippers. Raptors laying 3.5. They were kind of a darling in the preseason. They're always sort of a NBA Twitter team where, it's little underrated guys, but they just haven't really put it together. They've been kind of disappointing. I don't know if they're buy in terms of making a trade, sell in terms of making a trade, but they are playing the Clippers tonight. Brad, you want to start us off? Clippers and Raptors. What do you got?
Yeah, I've just been patiently waiting for the underdog report for the Clippers players to be on some kind of minutes restrictions. Like the Clippers,
you gotta wait a long time. It's always 5 minutes or 4.
It really is. Clippers literally played last night, 142 to 131 overtime game against the Pistons. Now they're in the second half of a back-to-back. Like, we know Lou, we know the nonsense that he does. He's got to be sitting some of these players. Like, and the one thing the Clippers have, which wasn't shown last night, was they played good defense. I think that without their full roster, their full lineup there, which I don't think is going to happen, I think Siakam absolutely eats. I'm taking Pascal Siakam over 39.5 points, rebounds, and assists. He's hit this number in 3 straight. And much like the Wizards, when the Clippers aren't full strength, they are terrible against scoring bigs. I wanted to take some kind of special on Siakam's points tonight, but I'm gonna try to beat the books and the notification to wait and see when the lineup gets released, and I'm just gonna run to the window if they say the guys aren't out, if the guys are out.
Nick, what do you got here?
I mean, I feel like the Clippers play every Tuesday night, and it's always guess who is playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that game, they had a crazy comeback last night, and a lot of energy exerted in that one. They got to be sitting some people, and I like Siakam as well in this game. I think he's one of probably the most underrated players just because he plays for Toronto. Real versatile. I did see something the other day. You were saying something about buyers or sellers. They said everyone is asking on OG Anunoby, but they said the price for him, that people would be shocked. They said it would be Donovan Mitchell type is what they're asking for him.
I will just say before I throw it to Brian, I will pat myself on the back a little bit. I was a bit of a contrarian over the summer when everyone's like, "Oh, you can't trade Scotty Barnes for Kevin Durant. He's so much younger." Durant's always like, "Wait a second. This is Scotty Barnes and this is Kevin Durant, and Barnes has not played well, and Durant's
worse this year than last year.
Yeah, he is.
Worse.
Yeah, and look, it's fun to be like a fun NBA Twitter team, and everyone likes, this guy's underrated, that guy's underrated. They're switchable, they're big. It's like you're not winning a title with this team.
Yeah,
and man, if you had Durant instead of Barnes, you'd be a hell of a team. So I wonder if they regret that. And it was sort of laughed at. Oh, you can't give up this guy for Durant. You can't give up that guy. The Pelicans can't give up Ingram for Durant. It's still Kevin freaking Durant. So I wonder if they have a little bit of non-buyer's remorse. But Brian, anything to add here in terms of the Raps and the Clips?
Yeah, this is actually a game where I always say that the Raptors don't they're the only team that to me that doesn't have positions. They're very positionless. Right. So they do have they're the only true, everyone says, oh, they're positionless. They're really the only true team that plays like that. So I do think they match up well with the Clippers. And it's one of those things where the Clippers are coming off of a overtime holiday weekend game. And this is a tough spot to buy any Clippers spot. So I do lean the Raptors. And like you said, I wouldn't be surprised if 3 minutes before tip-off, no one's playing for the, or they have 18-minute, whatever the restrictions would be. So I lean the Raptors here. I do think the Raptors are a good spot, especially in terms of rest advantage and overall matchup. So that's where I'd go. I'm laying off this game, but that I would be a hard time to convince me on a Clippers, stock, even if they do win by 20. Just pregame, I couldn't buy into it.
Tough beat last night, boy. If you had the Pistons plus the 5.5, you're up 14 with 3 and change left, and you don't win, you don't cover, you get blown out. Once it goes to overtime, you kind of know what's going to happen. My goodness, that's one where if you're on the Pistons, you might need to just take a night off, go for a walk, something. That's a tough one. Moving on here, Hawks laying a point to the Pacers in Indiana. This is such a nondescript game. I have nothing here. Hawks, Pacers. Brad, you want to start us off? Atlanta in Indiana here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like the Atlanta Hawks, right? They play basketball so confusing. It's DeJounte Murray goes and does his thing while Trae Young just sits there and watch. And then vice versa throughout the entire game. They don't really get everyone involved. I think they're kind of missing the reason why they have two versatile guards. But from a betting perspective, I just think that Halliburton's going to destroy this Atlanta Hawks team. Does that mean the Pacers are going to win? No. But from a betting perspective or a DFS perspective, I think Halliburton's a must roster in this situation.
Yeah, Nick, you can go. And that was a team over the summer where they made an all-in trade, gave up all those picks for Murray. It's like, all right, you got a little better with Murray, but are you really a team that should be going all in? That was a strange one. And
yeah,
curious what the future of their franchise holds. Nick, what do you got for this one?
Yeah, I don't have any plays for this, but I agree with Brad. It's like, where is this team headed? Like, what is it?
Right.
What are they trying to do? They have all these people that seem to be like the same type of person, whether it's the John Collins of the world. What do you do with him? Now you have Murray and Trae Young there. It's like, are they supposed to be playing at the same time always? Are they supposed to be offsetting each other more? What's the deal? I feel like, I don't know if it was just Murray's stats were better in San Antonio, but he just looked better in San Antonio. I don't know if it's just style of play. I mean, he was a triple-double almost every night. His rebounding was better. Defense was, I think, even better. I don't know. This team's a mess. I don't know what they do like going forward. They have Bogdanovich now back. Yeah, I don't know. I'm staying away from this game.
Yeah, I do think as Brad kind of mentioned, it's a weird identity there. I think teams only work if there's give and take, and if you're watching it, there isn't much give and take. The spacing's weird with the Hawks. I mean, John Collins, he had that one dunk on Embiid, and I think he's still riding that hot streak because sometimes he just looks lost out there. And honestly, the Hawks are missing the best center in the league. Clint Capella's been out, so they've just been having a rough time because I make the joke because I hate Clint Capella. I don't really think he's a great basketball player, but he does bring length to them, and without him, they've just been looking really strange. So I want no part in betting on the Atlanta Hawks in the near future.
Yeah, I'm with you. Nothing really to add there, and we can move on. This is a game, now that I'm looking at it, I don't know. Celtics laying 15 to the Rockets. Am I tempted to take the Rockets plus the 15, plus 8-10 on the money line? You figure Boston had that's a game you don't get up for every game in the NBA. We know that. We see strange results every night. That is a game they obviously got up for against Milwaukee on Christmas. Big effort. Now it's kind of a trap game against Houston, who's got some young talent. We've seen weird results in the NBA all year. That 15 is certainly intriguing. Maybe you throw a couple bucks on the money line. Am I crazy, Nick, or is this a spot to back Houston?
I mean, Houston did just beat the Bulls, I think, last night.
Yeah, so they did. Comeback.
Yeah. They put up 133 against Chicago last night.
They got some players.
These are the games, like, I don't even know. Like, I kind of like Marcus Smart assist, but you're not even guaranteed he's playing the fourth quarter. There's been so many blowouts lately where guys don't even play the fourth quarter. So I'm probably staying away. I looked at that and I was like, wow, 8-10 on the money line. Interesting. But I haven't put anything on this game. I probably won't watch it either. I don't like really watching Boston. I kind of like watching Houston a little bit, but I'll probably just stay away from this one.
So
Brad, anything for you?
I'll be the guy that gets the hate for it, but I do have to play this game, and I am taking Jalen Green's under 25.5 points / assist. This is one of those games where it's almost weirdly a letdown spot for the Rockets, how I see it, in a back-to-back after a game like yesterday where they shot, I think, 89%. They shot 56%. They couldn't miss. They're traveling on the road. You mentioned the holiday thing. Jalen Green has actually really struggled on the road, so I was surprised yesterday to see him hit 6 threes and just look as efficient as he was. I think he kind of gets that, special treatment, though, from Boston, where they're going to identify, make someone else beat them. And Boston with Robert Williams has been a lot better defensively. And this feels like a game where you see a 15-point spread. And I think it's so easy to take stock in the Rockets. I wouldn't be surprised if this is just like an all Boston game because, I mean, the Rockets have, I think they lost, four straight before they won last night. They look great. But I just think it's one of those spreads where name one person that, is waking up, checking their FanDuel app and seeing 15 points and saying, oh, I'm taking that spread for Boston. It just feels like a game that's set up for failure for the Rockets. So I'm going to buy the Jalen Green dip after a great game where he scored 11 points in the first quarter and then really dropped down and only ended with 24 after the 11. So I just think it's a tough spot for him against a team that should key in on him and make anyone else beat them.
I do have a question for you, Brian. Is Jalen Green the Western Conference Kelly Oubre?
Yeah. I mean, what's funny is yesterday he looked great. He made 6 threes on that same move, that same step back move. But I've seen him do that 6 times in a game and go 0 for 6. So it's the same thing where
he was 6 for 10 yesterday and is still only shooting 26% for three this month.
yeah, like he's one of those guys where he's gonna get them. I don't hate
And he
Jalen Green.
shoots 7 of them a game, so it's like, gosh.
Yeah.
Say that stat again. He made 6 yesterday and he's shooting 26% for the month still.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. He actually yesterday, I mean, before yesterday's game, he's shooting 35.5% from field goal range, not just from three, like from field goal on the road. Like when he's on the road, he shoots 35%. Like he's just struggling. So
he's not scared to shoot either.
Yeah, so I'm buying the dip. I think he had a great game, and I think this is a tough matchup. So if he drops 30 and I look like an idiot, so be it. But I just think that's a high line for a guy, Jalen Green, that's coming off a back-to-back against and having to go into Boston.
Brad, anything for you?
No, I'm not betting this doggone game. And like you think about like if the spread minus 20 alt line is like plus 145 or plus 165,
Yeah.
like that's a game I'd have no interest in. Like if I want to bet this, I want to bet I'm gonna like get blown out by like 30 plus, give me a little taste, but you're still not even getting good value in that.
Yeah, like I said, this is just one of those games that sound like I don't have that tinfoil hat kind of mentality, but it does kind of give you that vibe where you're getting 15 points for a struggle team. Like Boston's been kind of struggling too. It just seems like a one of those games that's just going to get ugly fast, unless the Rockets are legit. Which then I'll eat my words. It's a weird line with how the Rockets came out and won outright as 8-point underdogs yesterday.
So we all agree Rockets on the money line is the play. OKC laying 7.5 to the Spurs. Boy, OKC laying 7.5 to anybody that's in the NBA is interesting. I guess you can start here, Brian. Spurs, Thunder laying 7.5. What you got?
So this is a game I'm proudly not gonna watch much or bet at all.
You and pretty much everybody else in the world.
Which means it's gonna be like an OT thriller. Everything's gonna be perfect. I mean, this is a game where the over-under is 236, and I would usually throw up in my mouth saying that, but I think this goes over, honestly. This is a game where they could shoot 40%, but they're going to take 200 shots each. This is going to be a track meet. I think it's one of those games where the Spurs have been so bad defensively. I mean, I get the Thunder are I think the Thunder should be favored, but laying 7.5 is just, like I said, they're laying a touchdown, and they're the OKC Thunder. That's just wild to me. So this is a game where I lean the over. I think, Shai, I think SGA should have a great game, but his line's 32.5. And if you can sell me on the value there, maybe you can look into that. But I think it's adjusted for how poor the defense will be in this game.
Brad, anything for you?
Look, I want to sit here and say the same thing that I was on the show last time when they played the Pelicans, that Vassell under was good because he had a good defender on him. But I don't know if I can, just because like this is going to be a track meet, right? Like I want to take Devin Vassell's under 20.5 points, like so bad. He's got Dort covering him and he struggles against good defenders. But like when you look at a total of 237, where are all the points going to come from? Especially if Keldon Johnson doesn't play. Like
Jakob Poeltl for 40.
Right? Like that's going to be it. But I feel like that should be the move, but I'm not tempting fate there.
Yeah, I think the one thing I've liked about talking basketball with you guys is you can watch a game without having to bet it. And if you want to watch the track meet of a game, it should be a fun game to watch. But I didn't see any angles prop wise or game wise.
If you want an interesting play involving this game, you can do SGA 40 and Embiid 40 for plus 1,800.
It's not bad.
That's not bad.
Really not bad. Embiid 40 plus points. SGA 40 plus points, 18-1. That's actually not bad. I'll probably tell. Did you bet that? I'll probably tell you on that.
I literally just looked at it because once you guys said that, I was like, SGA could have 40 tonight easy.
Yeah,
I'm with you there. I guess we could probably move on here. We're getting through these games pretty well. So I think it's a nice pace, not belaboring these games too much, but we're giving you some good info. It is The Bank is Open, presented by Props.cash, Pickett Sports, both essential tools for all your betting. So check those out, Props.cash, Pickett Sports. And of course, Goal Boys, Suns plus 8 in Memphis. That's a strange line. My guess is that means the Suns are kind of punting on this game. They've had some weird results lately. Nick, you want to start us off, Grizzlies and Suns?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you don't usually see the Suns giving up points like that. But I think
points,
Memphis. or getting points yet. I think Memphis bounces back. They kind of got embarrassed against Golden State.
Yeah, they did.
I think Dylan Brooks probably wants to prove something tonight after Klay Thompson screamed at him there. But I don't have any plays involving this game. I know a lot of people are on Ja Morant tonight, if you want to look at that. But I really don't have anything on this game tonight. I'm sure Brian's got something for us.
I used to love betting and being all over the Suns, but the last 2 weeks, I mean, they were my regular season juggernaut of taking 8 in props and pairing money line or taking the money line live or when they go down. But last 2 weeks, I haven't really touched it often because, usually there was a case where if the Suns were down 5 going into the fourth quarter, you can live bet them at plus odds and just like print money. Now they're down 5 at the end of the third quarter, and it's like it's almost lucky. It's like almost lucky that it's not down 35. They got the only angle I can back the Suns here without Booker is if you want to buy the regression of Memphis beat them by 35 or whatever it was the other night, maybe they make adjustments. But if you were like me and you watched that game was it Friday? It was a rough watch. The Grizzlies had 15 offensive rebounds in the first half alone. I've seen teams struggle to get 5 in a game, and they had so many putbacks. They had 72 points in the paint that game, and it becomes one of those things with Jaren Jackson and Steven Adams in the paint. You have DeAndre Ayton. Obviously, I'm a big DeAndre Ayton fan. I do think he's really talented, but the Suns' problems the last 3 years, you saw it in the finals with Giannis. Who is their number 2? They run such a small lineup that teams like this just absolutely murder them because if you have DA on Steven Adams and he contests a shot, who's boxing out Jackson? It's a mess. I can't back the Suns here at all. I would lean Memphis, but unless you want to buy the dip of after the blowout. But yeah, they are just outmatched size wise here.
Yeah, they really are. And I was looking for David Lee 3 props, but no one wanted to list them. Like, that's like the only prop I would take because it's going to be priced like over 2.5 threes, like minus 110. Then you have something to kind of look at. But like, I looked and didn't see anything. Like this is one of those games that could get ugly, or it could be like the Suns against the Nuggets. And I will gladly say that I took a fat L in that game because when Devin Booker went down, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and take Denver first half, and then Denver went on a cold streak. I luckily did go ahead and put the whole bankroll on second half over because it looked like the Suns were playing well and they went to overtime, so it helped out. But this is going to be the Suns either show up or they get absolutely annihilated. Like, it's not fun when you bet props in games that are like blowouts.
I like Morant. The Grizzlies are a fun team. That interview the other day really turned me off. I don't know that I should say I like him anymore. I mean, you've been out of the first round once. You squeaked by the T-Wolves, and now you're going to sit there and say you're not afraid of anybody. You don't have to worry about anything. I thought Clay put it well. That was so disrespectful. This Warriors team's won a bunch of titles. You've done absolutely nothing as a team, as a franchise. You've been out of the first round once, and now you're going to act like this championship goes through. I don't know what you guys think, but that really kind of annoyed me.
Yeah, I was actually kind of rooting for the Suns to show up. That I thought there'd be some part of them that would, rally for a game like that after that comment, and they got demolished. So it's one of those things where it kind of sucks when you hear comments like that, and you're like, oh, maybe the Phoenix Suns can rally and put them in their place, and then you look at the score, they're down 48, and it's like, oh, damn it. Like, that didn't go as planned.
The Warriors did, though. The Warriors without Curry really gave it to them, and Memphis
Jordan Poole. Well on the road. Goodness
God. Hey, Warriors, do it on the road one time, then I'll believe you.
No, I know. But look, if you're comparing resumes, like the Warriors have won and won time and time again here. Like, I just thought that bothered me from Memphis, and Memphis hasn't played well on the road. They're a good team, but I mean, come on here. You're not some dynasty. I thought that was a little ridiculous. Anything else on this game before we move on?
No, that's all. I don't have anything in this.
Knicks in Dallas. Mavericks are laying 4.5, total 218.5. Bad loss for the Knicks the other day. The Knicks have kind of gotten fortunate playing these teams, they see the Warriors without Curry. They play the Nuggets without Jokic. I don't know what to make of the Knicks. They're an okay team. They're not bad. They're not good. They're sort of in that middle ground. Dallas, we know it's Luka and a bunch, of role players here. Brad, you want to start us off? Mavs and Knicks, what you got?
Yeah, I just feel like this is a game where it's like Julius Randle is going to try to show up. Luka's going to show up. I think Luka's points are good. It's one of those superstar effects where you play against another good player, you can go ahead and take it, but super juiced, so I didn't take his points. And then like when I was looking at specials, I was going to take Julius Randle to score 25 plus and Luka to score 30 plus, and it was like terrible odds. So I feel like the books kind of know it's not like some surprise that there's going to be a lot of points scored by the superstars in this game, but I don't have a bet on it.
Nick, anything for you?
Yeah, I got 2 plays for this one. Actually, my favorite play of the day. Maybe he makes me look like an idiot, but Julius Randle over 9.5 rebounds. I laddered him all the way up. These are his last game logs. He's had 8, 12, 13, 12, 14, 12, 13. And the Mavericks struggle giving up rebounds to power forwards. And like Brad said, I think he shows up tonight. So that's my favorite play of the night is Randle rebounds. And then I also have Tim Hardaway Jr. points ladder. A little revenge game for him. He's been shooting the ball well lately. His baseline is, I think, 16.5. And then just run that all the way up to 25 points. I think he could torch the Knicks here maybe. So I like both of those looks as far as player props in this game.
I'm a little insulted that you're not trusting an all-star Dwight Powell in the paint to restrict some rebounds. No, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't there a big debacle about Julius Randle getting like 2 rebounds taken away versus the Sixers? I saw people on Twitter talking about that they needed 10 and he had 2 taken away and 1 was miscredited. It was a whole thing.
Oh yeah,
you know how it is on Twitter, but
yeah,
I did see that a lot.
I was watching the Wolves game last night. Don't ask me why. It's because I had Jaden McDaniels rebounds, and I literally was watching, and his rebounds were going the opposite direction. He had like 5, then I looked and he had 3, and then he had 2, and I was like, wait a second here. What is going on in this game right now?
Yeah, that's the only problem with rebound prop. But yeah, no, this is a good spot for him. The only thing is that, I mean, with Luka as well, I wouldn't be surprised if Mitchell Robinson gets 3 ticky-tack fouls, and then Julius Randle has to even more step up on the glass. So I do like that.
Yeah, and this is the Brunson revenge game, as I think the Knicks were docked the 2nd-round pick for tampering. Look, teams tamper all the time. That was interesting how I guess the Mavs were pretty annoyed with how the Knicks sort of recruited him. So something to keep an eye on.
Have they said if he's playing for sure yet or not?
I don't see anything.
Still a game time decision.
Game time decision.
Typical NBA. Everybody's a game time decision.
Yeah.
You know how we know if they're playing when the game starts and they're on the court or not. I mean, it's just
my whole fantasy team is all game time decisions. So right before the game starts, I get 1,000 updates. Like, oh, this player's playing, this player's not, this player's playing. It's like so much of a headache.
Yeah, if you want to be a good competitive fantasy basketball player, you just got to quit your job. You got to be fully dedicated to the injury report of the NBA. It's your only option.
Yep, and sleep during the summer. Just don't go to the bathroom. Don't shower. You'll be good. You have a chance to win. A couple more games here. The bank is open. Props.cash, Pickett Sports. And we got the Warriors that we just talked about. They are hosting the Hornets, boy, only laying 4.5 here. Total 240.5. Hornets on second night of a back-to-back after losing to Portland last night. Brad, you want to start us off here? Warriors and Hornets. What you got?
Yeah, I didn't bet this yet, but I'm just going to try to see how my bets are going. But listen, doesn't this game kind of just seem like one of those Jordan Poole 35, LaMelo Ball 35 games? Like the total set at 240, so you know it's going to be high. It's going to be back and forth action, and neither team's going to play any defense. Steve Clifford even talked about he's challenged his guys to play defense, and I haven't seen one defensive performance since he made that call after his post game. So
that was a great press conference.
It was so great. It was so great. But I thought they were going to lock it down the next game. They absolutely didn't. So I think there'll be a lot of points had. I think this is a game you ladder some players like ladder Poole or ladder LaMelo.
Yeah, that was a press conference. He waved off all the questions. He sat down. He goes, "You guys don't need to answer any questions." And he just went off for 3 or 4 minutes. That was pretty good. Brian, what you got here?
Yeah, I was gonna say, remember when there was a time where you'd avoid Warriors game because of elite defense?
Yeah,
that seems like forever ago. Because right now their rotations are so lazy, and they because I like watching basketball and looking at how teams run their defense, and the Warriors are so lazy on their rotations. Like the Raptors are a team that will close out an open 3. The Warriors just kind of they miss their assignment, and it's like, shit, and they just get back, and it's like, all right, guess you're only playing one half of the sport. So yeah, this is a game where, as Brad mentioned, if you find whoever player you think could be going off. Clay had a good game last game, but I don't know if he's due for 2 good games in a row. It seems like asking a lot at this point with how he's been playing. But the defense should be kind of rough to watch. And these two teams love to play at pace. So there should be a lot of, overall, as long as buckets are going in, there should be a lot of points in this one. So I would lean for a more fun, like if you have a free bet, maybe make like a ladder or a same game parlay or take the over like at 240, even though it's high as hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Brad's idea with LaMelo and Poole. You could do points ladder, you could do threes ladder,
Yeah.
both of those guys. What would happen if the Warriors would have taken LaMelo?
Or Wagner.
Yeah, I mean,
or Halliburton. Yeah.
Wagner would have been an absolute perfect fit there as well.
Yeah.
They had multiple picks, right? They had what, 2 and 7?
I believe so.
Or is that a different year I'm thinking of?
I think that was that year.
I think it was, yeah. I mean, at least they're getting
Yeah, 'cause they
great.
got the T-Wolves pick and they stunk that year. Yeah, I think it was Wiseman and it was Kuminga.
Yep.
At least Wiseman putting up is contributing well.
Yes.
At least he's giving them some solid minutes.
At least he's in the NBA
in
and not
practice.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I wouldn't say I liked Wiseman, but at first I didn't get as much as the hate as I got. Like, because at first it was a really unpopular pick, and I was like, well, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They need a center, they need a bigger like presence in the paint. Let's see if it plays out. And then like 4 games in, I was like, oh, they made a mistake. He does not look engaged, and they did not look good with him. But yeah, they passed up. Like Halliburton would have been good there. I mean, even what was it? Who was it? It was Patrick Williams. Even Patrick Williams is a decent role player.
Strange draft.
Yeah,
that draft went T-Wolves, Edwards, Warriors picked second, Wiseman, then LaMelo, Patrick Williams, Isaac Okoro, Onyeka Okongwu, Killian Hayes, Obi Toppin, Denny Advia, and Jalen Smith were the top 10.
Kuminga must have went last year.
Halliburton was 12, Cole Anthony at 15, Tyrese Maxey 21.
Yeah, baby. Good pick there.
And I think the 2020, it was a really good pick. Really good pick. I think the 2021 draft is where they had 2 picks because they picked Kuminga and Moody. I know there was one year where they had 2 picks and Kuminga was involved. And I think part of the 2020 draft, and that was the year right after there was no NCAA tournament. Teams have talked about that, where it's like they had a hard time getting guys into meetings. They couldn't work them out. They didn't have any NCAA tournament to go off of. Remember, Wiseman didn't play college. So you see a lot of strange picks. It's hard to draft anyway. It's hard to draft when you don't have a tournament to go off of. You don't have these workouts. So I think that probably affected some of it.
2021 Warriors had 7, the 7th pick with Kuminga, and then they had the 14th for Moses Moody.
Yep. Sounds about right. Anything else on this one before we get to the final game? Another game with a high total here in Nuggets Kings. Anything else?
That's all I have for this.
A total of 240. This is a fun game. I don't know if people stay up to watch it, but it's 10-11 tip-off on the East Coast. Nuggets in Sacramento, laying 3.5 to the Kings. Total 239. I would lean towards the Kings here. You're home, you're getting points. Should be an up and down game. Could be like a buzzer beater type of game. Those 3.5 look pretty valuable. Kings have been feisty, especially at home. Brian, you want to start us off? Nuggets and Kings, and what should be a fun one.
Yeah, I think your point too is that it is a spot I would have to lean the home team, only because a home underdog here. And what surprisingly is funny to say, where do you see much of a drop off between these like 2 teams, like in terms of
clones of each other?
Yeah, it's really funny to think about, but I don't think the Kings are that far off of what we've seen from the Nuggets in certain games. Nuggets are coming off of a big, I would say, emotional win. They won by 3 in overtime on like on that Christmas game. So this could be a great spot to buy low, to buy I always say buy the dip on the underdog here, because I think Michael Porter is playing.
Yeah.
So that could change a lot of things there. But this is a game where played a lot of minutes, traveling to the holidays, this and that. Plus, the way the Kings have looked, I would think at home, if you get them at 3.5 or 4, some books, it just feels like the right play.
Yeah, I talked about this game a little bit on this morning on NBC. I do think you take the underdog here. I wanted to kind of bet them up a little bit, so I parlayed them with over 1.5 goals in the first soccer game. I think if you get this around 5.5, 6, like that's a perfect number. I saw someplace you could still get 4s available, which is totally cool. But the Nuggets haven't impressed me They're still working Michael Porter back in. Murray's been a little banged up. They have these lapses where it feels like this team can score 150 points a night. Like they're on that pace, right? And then they have these lapses mid-game where they go like 5-minute stretches with just like 2 points, and those come from the free throw line. So like they're a hard team to want to get excited about, especially on the road, especially after a big overtime victory. Like that game was nuts. In a game where they shouldn't have had any problems, but that was one of those games where they went up by 15 early, and then they had one of those lapses where they scored like 5 points in 5 minutes, and then next thing you know, it was like a 32, I think it was 34 to like 6 run, and then the Phoenix Suns took the lead.
Will, are you turning into a Kings fan now? Is that what I heard out of this?
Kings are fun, man. The Kings are fun to watch. They're fun to bet. And the night to night NBA, not all these teams are great to watch. You never know who's playing, but the Kings are fun. They haven't been good in a while. They're a fun team. And I can remember, I think we're around the same age, Nick. When we were like in high school, college, they were really good and fun with Weber and Peja Stojakovic, going back to Jay Williams and
Mike
even
Bibby.
Some of those, when they had Artest and Bonzi Wells, they used to have fun teams, and it's fun when they're good. It's just, boy, when you talk about really any sport of the American sports, the three major, like there's been very few teams that have been as unsuccessful the last 15, 20 years as the Kings. I mean, it's hard to miss the playoffs, 15 plus years in the NBA like they have, but it's fun to have them back, and they're decent. They're not really probably a contender for anything, but they're a fun team.
Yeah, they're headed in the right direction, I think. What do you guys think of De'Aaron Fox double plus 350?
I think it's
easily happy. That's JD's play right there. That's his
that's
favorite thing to do. I mean, it's a high-paced game.
High-paced game.
To play. He's going to get the 10 points. It's just
right.
How many assists can he rack?
Plus 350 on 10 assists.
How many blocks he's going to have?
If Sabonis plays through the injury, I think he's going to definitely be able to get this going. Like, I mean, every single time they want to switch with Joker in this, like he's not a good defending big. He's probably better than I give him credit for, but it's just, I think Sabonis could eat in this game, which means a lot of potential pick and roll action for Fox.
Right.
Any official play side total? You guys lean towards the Kings, the Nuggets? Anything on the side?
No, I definitely lean Kings, because I will say I think sometimes teams get the superstar value where it's like, oh yeah, it's Jokic and the Nuggets, but Jokic and the Nuggets aren't necessarily playing great basketball. So I do think sometimes you get those, superstar discounts on the other team.
Yeah.
Hey, Will, so we got SGA 40, Embiid 40, Kings money line, Lakers money line, Rockets money line is only plus 95,000. So
oof.
Is that it? I don't know why you said it only.
That's all we're asking for.
Just parlay that into the lotto.
Exactly.
That's not bad. Parlay that with the Magic to win the division.
Yeah. And
AD
for MVP.
I was going to say Carolina Panthers to win the division, but I'm still ticked off that Brad's Buccaneers somehow again pulled a game out of their ass on Sunday night after playing terribly. The Cardinals wouldn't run the damn play. There's 4 minutes left in the game. They're snapping the ball with 18 seconds left on the clock. Carolina was going to have the division. All they needed to do was beat Tampa and have Philly beat the Saints, and it was over this week. I'm going to cash a big ticket, and of course Brady pulls his voodoo magic, and here we are. Bucks have a chance to clinch that division. What do you have to say about your Bucks?
I will say this: I'm so sick of Todd Bowles. I've never wanted a coach to be gone so bad. The Bucks are so funny, right? Because when they play with pace, they're one of the best teams in the NFL, but they only do it when they're down towards the end of the game. And I just don't think he's a good coach. He's a good defensive mind.
Great defensive coordinator, not a head coach.
Not a head coach. And it's going to be funny. We're going to make the playoffs. Then we're going to get absolutely boat raced by the Cowboys. At first, I was going to say we could probably beat the Cowboys, but we have to be able to score. We cannot rely on our defense being out on the field that long, especially when you get into the playoffs.
I think Carolina beats them this week. Carolina's better than them, I think.
It's funny
I think Carolina loses. I think it's going to be one of those situations where Sammy D is going to throw a couple picks. Tom Brady's just going to sit back and eat his little bonbons and not do anything all game. It's going to be the defense who just absolutely rides.
I was listening to Bill Simmons the other day, and he said the same thing you said. He said if they could just run that 2-minute offense the whole time, they would be fine. Everything else, they just cannot figure out what they're doing.
I had a pretty good meltdown about the Bucks, and I had to find it. Well, pretty much this is what the Bucks expect. And I'm sick of hearing Todd Bowles say this. Every halftime, these are the two things he'll say. One of the two, he switches them out. Just pay attention to this. We either need to run the ball more or do we throw more screen passes? So I had someone do a deep dive in the teams that throw the most screen passes per offensive play called. The Bucs are 4th, right? How do you expect your 45-year-old quarterback to be good throwing the ball down the field when you go run? Oh crap, it's long, so now we're gonna run try to go deep, or run, pick up the first, screen pass, run. Oh, now you expected me to go deep again? There's no rhythm to that. That's not good football. That's not good game management. And
how many screens do they throw a game, by the way?
It's disgusting.
Painful offense to watch.
So I will say, I did see selling on Twitter. I think 90% of Tom Brady's completions against the Cardinals was within 10 yards, and and they had receipts. It was a whole video, and I was watching it, and I was like, I watched the game, and I didn't even notice. Like you notice it, but I was like, no, but like I noticed it, but like 90% is like all of them. Like there's one thing to say, oh wow, there's a lot of screens, a lot of short throws, but when you watch them consecutively, you're like, oh, it's way more than I thought.
Yeah. It's oh my gosh, it makes my eyes hurt. Someone goes, before we were playing the Bengals, they're like, hey Brad, you want to come to the Bengals game? And I was like, no, I don't. So they're not even fun to watch. Like at least when we sucked and we had Jameis and we had this high flying offense, hell, we'd lose, but we put up 35 points. That was fun. It's not fun watching this.
Even the Fitzpatrick was there for a little bit.
Yeah.
Fitzpatrick plays for every team, but yeah, it's I actually, man, it drives me nuts that in fact Carolina is going to cost me a monster ticket, and that game the other night's a big reason. So it'd be fun to watch. Good games this weekend, but I think we covered it. Got all the NBA and got our best bets. Anything else to add before we get out of here?
No, I was gonna say quickly, because Will, you brought it up with the Cardinals just saying not running it. If you watch the Vikings Giants game, same thing happened. Vikings refused to run the football with the lead, and the Giants almost won. Yep. NFL teams, my PSA, my ending thought is, it's okay to run the football. Take time off the clock, especially with the lead. Everyone tries to outsmart things, and it's really frustrating.
Yeah, and I get, hey, you want to keep the chains moving. The worst thing you want to do is run it 3 times and punt. But at least if you're going to throw the ball, keep the clock moving, exhaust the play clock. Like when there's 4 minutes left in the game, you have Trace McSorley at quarterback, Brady's on the other side. Just run that thing down. One, they're snapping it with 18, 20 seconds left. It makes no sense to me. No sense whatsoever.
I didn't mean to make that sore spot come up. I just wanted to end that as my signing off thought, because I noticed that in like 3 games this weekend where teams almost lost by just not running the football.
Nick, Brian, Brad, appreciate you guys. Gold Boys, bank is open. Pickett Sports, props.cash. We'll be back Thursday at 6. And then again this weekend with all the football. We got shows in between. So thank you guys for listening. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.